Committee meeting October 19th at 5 o'clock. Dr. Jones? Here. Mr. Thames? Here. Mr. Higginbotham?
Here.
Mrs. Smith? Here. And Mr. Harden?
Here.
Hey, can I just say, Dr. Jones, real quick, that I found out very late, thank goodness I called them, because they did not have me as the city clerk of Homewood. So I hope y'all don't need to tell me anything. That the league is having a training session. So I need to know if I could by tomorrow morning. It's the last day to register, and it's not via Zoom. It's an in-person attendance only. On Tuesday Wednesday the 27th. Is that?
That's it.
It's October the 27th. That's a Tuesday. That's just the orientation for new officers, or you can still come if you've been a council member and you want a refreshing. But the 28th and 29th is the Municipal Leadership Institute. That's if you want to try to go for the CMO or you want to take that class period. But you can just go for the 27th from 8 to 5. But I'm sorry about the short notice. They got 50 slots left, she said, so I need to register y'all. And then if you can let me know whether you just want the Tuesday or the Tuesday, I'm pretty sure it's the 27th, 28th, 29th. But if you just want the new one-day thing or you want both of them because you register for them separately. And if you want to go down Monday night, the 26th before, let me know. It's in Montgomery. You have something different than the Tuesday, Wednesday? I think in 16 when y'all got elected, it was in Birmingham, so it was a lot easier, more convenient. But anyway, she changed my email to me now, so I have a new password. Just let me know. I'm glad I called her because I kept looking for it. And usually it's after you get installed on the 2nd, but this time it's before you get installed. But luckily I called her because tomorrow's the deadline, she said, so, or when they run out of space.
Well, they need to do a better job of communicating. I looked on their website and there's nothing on their first training in November.
Well, it's confusing because I looked under conferences and I've been looking too. Well, apparently when you go on their website, there's a picture of the Renaissance Hotel, and you have to click on it to get to it's not under their training, which is super confusing. So anyway, I apologize for that because I have been looking out for it and they didn't have my email.
Is this the one for the new counselors?
I'm sorry?
This is the one for the new counselors also, for their training?
And I've emailed all the new council people, and I've heard back from 2 of them that are going to attend
This
Tuesday.
is separate from what we would do. We're going to do a separate training.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you. I just want to let y'all know so y'all see my email.
Okay, Ms. Salter handed out minutes from from budget hearings, so I think we might as well just go ahead and approve these, or I guess we need to take time to read these. A lot of these have been sent out, but she printed all these. So what is the pleasure of the committee?
It would take a long time to read. I mean,
Okay, then why don't we take these?
You did for every meeting we had, didn't you?
Well, no, sir. We were behind. We were just behind on the
17th, 24th.
the 17th, the 22nd, the 24th, and the 28th. So I sent them out Friday, so y'all have the weekend, and then I sent some red line changes only that I found over the weekend because I was afraid if y'all didn't approve them tonight, we'd have a new finance committee meeting. Unless we have a special call meeting, we will have a new finance staff on the 9th or committee, and I didn't know if they would want to approve them or not.
Oh, yes, we probably need to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And then the other one was just the regular
One at a time, do we?
meeting
do
that we
them
had
all
on the
together.
21st.
I'll take that motion.
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve the minutes for the meetings on the 17th, the 22nd, the 24th, and the 28th.
Would you want to include the 15th?
Well, the 15th, the reason I gave that to you, I was just going to report out, y'all had already approved them, but when I was, go ahead and cross-referencing everything to make sure I had it all correct.
Gotcha.
I had put tuition in schools instead of travel and conference. So when you approved them, it was just so noted to let you know.
Okay, so all the meetings that I mentioned in the 15th with the change.
The one change.
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. It's moved and properly seconded. Any further question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. That's 5-0.
And I guess, I don't know, if you read them over the next week or two, if we find a mistake, I guess.
We can,
the new-
we can make any
The new
changes.
finance
Yeah.
committee can change.
Thank you for all your
amend
hard
it.
work on this.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you,
very
sir.
much so.
Appreciate it. Okay, moving on to, we haven't passed the September 21st. We haven't approved dispense with the reading of the
And
regular
I didn't
finance
reprint
meeting.
those, I don't think, today, or they may be,
Okay, so
they were, I sent them out a while ago, because y'all didn't have a meeting on the last one, which was October, the
Yeah.
9th. Yeah. So, if y'all need, I sent them out after the 21st, but I didn't send them again this weekend. Do you need me to?
We have, I've read them.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, I didn't
So is there
resend
a
them.
motion to approve those minutes as well?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mr. Harden. Second by Mrs. Smith. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign, 5-0, that passes. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Old business, 240820, request to make changes to the city's resolution regarding city contributions to retiree insurance. Coming to us from the mayor. I've been asked to carry this over one more time, and we should have figures by the next meeting to review. Just have a little bit more work, and we want to make sure it's done correctly. So they are working on it, and we'll carry it over without objection. The end result is the city's going to save money. Isn't that right? Okay, good. Let the record reflect that there were heads
We're
nodding.
going to try to make sure we do.
Okay, moving on to new business, 011020. Request to authorize the mayor to sign contract with Lexpol for annual subscription to Fire Rescue 1 policy and training module. This item has been budgeted, and this is an annual subscription. We just are authorizing the mayor to sign the contract. Are there any questions for Battalion Chief Broadhead?
Any questions?
Does this start January 1? When does this effectively take place?
Well, when we sign the document, it'll be a year's worth, so
Okay.
we have not signed it yet. I assume we'll try to start at the beginning of November.
Okay.
The beginning of November that we start, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kendrick, you've reviewed the contract?
I have.
Okay.
It's budgeted in our maintenance contracts. It's a 12-month term, and it's just for use of their subscription material for our training purposes and policy development.
I would make a motion to approve this contract being signed.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Smith, seconded by Mr. Harden. All right. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign, 5-0. That passes. Okay. 041020. Request to appeal fine assessed for removal of trees in violation of tree ordinance at 307 Woodfern. Hold on a second. So I'll let the committee decide, but as you've heard me speak, like I'm a broken record, finance is here for funding. We're not here to discuss specifics of this particular tree that's in violation. It is in special issues, which will be taken up later. And if there's a recommendation from special issues that the city, it's recommended that we need to pay this to remove this tree, then we will certainly take that up. Would the committee like to hear this now, or are you of the thinking that we'll wait for special issues to come up with a recommendation?
I think special issue.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Seems
sir.
to me that if they talk about it in special issues tonight and we know the recommendation, we can always take it up under new business this Monday night and go ahead and fund it if we need to do that, if that's acceptable to you.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I didn't budget for it, but we're certainly welcome to hear a preliminary report or, whatever.
How much is the bond? 500?
And it's your recommendation. Just go ahead and provide us the recommendation from the city.
All right. I got an email from Chris Thacker at Public Works that you can see on the monitor that a tree was being cut down, had been cut down. There was no permit issued. I was able to make contact with the homeowner who I explained what the tree ordinance violation was. It was a fine of $500. He felt that was probably not fair. So a tree ordinance appeal must come to city council. That's the simplest way I know how to put it. So this is an appeal to the city council of a violation.
Of a
fine.
violation. So, yes.
So-
Mr. Smith, hold on one second.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
can't.
I'll get to you next.
What was his reasoning for it not being fair? I mean, was there
I believe he's here, if you want to hear from him. Okay.
Can we clarify, is it wood fern or is it red fern?
I meant to tell you, it's red fern. I need to make
The item
that-
says wood
Yeah,
fern.
that was a,
That's a difference.
was a typo.
Red fern? Okay.
Yes,
Red
red
fern,
fern.
yes. I'm glad you brought that up. That was going to be the first thing I brought up.
Well, I guess we're discussing it now.
Seize the moment, as they say.
I try every time,
would
but,
you-
since-
Dr. Jones,
You're going to need to sign.
would
Yes.
you prefer us just to send it to the actual committee and not double send it to the, since y'all are going first? Because I know it kind of makes it awkward, or you just want to wait till, see how the next council?
Yeah, the problem is, yeah, we're first, but I might have flexibility, we might go later in the evening. If that'll help improve things.
We try to put it in both, so it'll speed it up, but we can always just put it on one first. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Sir.
So, this is Bob Goodwin, I would assume.
That's me.
All right.
Would you sign in for us, please?
Yeah, I think you need to sign in up on that little list right there on the page.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe that's right. And- Okay.
All right. Y'all have pictures of the tree?
You didn't have to bring the tree with you. But,
I mean, I'm not the arborist, and I didn't know if the arborist would be here, but parts of the top of the tree have been dead for quite a while. If you'll look back in the let's see here, probably, if you look at 16 and 17, pardon me, 16 and 15, the climber is up in the tree. This is a sweet gum tree. It is completely engulfed in ivy,
Yes.
and you can't really tell, but there's dead branches up on the left side. These are some of them, just kind of to give you an idea of what the size of these branches are that have been dropping on my cars. The page 1 is the repair bill for my mother's car that was hit by this tree. It dropped branches on the roof of the car of a 2010 Honda Fit. Cost $23,35.31 to repair the damage that the tree did. And this was back 4/7 of 2017. The next, on page 5, well, you can look at 2 and 3 on this, and that kind of gives you a list of what was replaced on the car. Page 5 is my son's 2016 Mazda 3 that the tree dropped a branch through the rear window and did damage to the roof. Another $2,434.75 there. And then again, the 2010 Honda Fit on page 7 got hit again. My mom owned the car, gifted it to my daughter. She was away at boarding school up in Tennessee. She comes home occasionally. This was one of the times that she came home. It hit it, crushed the roof again, took it to Jim and Jim's. They made the comment, said, the roof has been replaced on this once. I said, yes, same tree, same roof. $4,801.63. Thanks to the tree, Alpha Insurance canceled me because of comprehensive damages. nothing of my doing. There was nothing that could be done. If you look at page 11, you will see the top. This was the second hit. You can see the top of the Honda Fit where it was hit on 11 and 12 on the rear. If you look at, and 13, smashed the roof. So the roof had to be replaced because of this tree once again. Now, page 14 is the newest branch that it dropped. And this is over the driver door, the pillar over the driver door. We decided that we weren't going to take it in to get it fixed because we've spent several $1,000s on this tree being against us, so to speak, for lack of a better term. It loves to drop things. And I brought these branches just kind of to give you an idea of the size of these things. I mean, gosh, the branches it's dropping are as big as my thigh. Huh? Anybody? Here it is. The tree is dying. If you look at, or the tree was dying, it's dead now. If you look at 17 and 18, 17 shows down at the very bottom there's a hole where the vermin and the insects have access, and 18 shows the center being destroyed and missing its, I don't know the technical term for it, but missing the center. This is some of the center of the tree. So, in conclusion, I'm asking for forgiveness, okay?
Now, you know, that's the one question we're going to ask you is why did you not just come, did you try to get a permit, or I mean, you just decided to cut it down and ask for forgiveness later?
Well, the planets kind of aligned to where I had access to the people to get it taken down, and I had been trying to put them together for quite a while, and finally got it, and there were more dead branches that had dropped out of the tree. We had quit parking up on the street around it, and just finally pulled the trigger. So enough is enough. So I throw myself upon your tender mercies.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Higginbotham.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm trying to clarify something because I want to be sure I'm clear on this. So, Mr. Goodwin, are you saying, because I'm not clear, are you saying that you personally cut down the tree, or you hired a company to cut down the tree?
I had relatives cut the tree down.
Okay, so this was it was handled personally, then it was not a
Right.
vendor that did it on
Right.
your behalf?
Right. I've got a cousin twice removed who's a tree climber, et cetera, et cetera. So I was finally able to rope him in to get over there and get this done.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear on that thing.
Mr. Thames, I never went back to you, I don't think. I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right. I wasn't aware the applicant was here. I was just curious what the basis for his appeal was. And now we know. One other question. Where exactly was this tree located?
Right up next to the sidewalk. So it was not on the city property. It was just on the beginning of my property.
Okay.
Let's see. If you look at, no, if you go back to 15, there's an oak tree to the left of it. You can see the road. And if you look towards the base of the sweet gum where the rope is coming down, that's the sidewalk.
Okay. But the tree is on your property, it wasn't in right of way?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? I mean, one option is we could approve it contingent on special issues making a ruling. I feel like they're the ones that need to make the ruling. We're just the ones that would determine if we would waive the fine. I I mean, you make a great argument, and you're throwing yourself at the mercy of the court here, but it's up to the committee what you'd like to, how you'd like to handle it.
Well, we weren't sure when I was supposed to be here, and since I was scheduled at 5, and I think at 6:45.
Yeah.
I felt it was
That's when the
best,
second
to-
committee is.
I felt it was best to be here for both, and I'll plead to both.
Okay, well, I
mean, if I need
I don't know
to.
if you need to come back.
Yeah, because it's the same, everybody who's on that committee at 6:45 is.
It's-
So,
Well, guys, do y'all want to rehash at 6:45, like
We don't- we
the
don't
guys
wanna
in
do
Dallas?
that.
Do you want me to go over this again?
so I think you can take your tree home. Yes, Mr.
I'll have to step out, so I'll just give my opinion, and although I sympathize with you, I mean, it appears these branches have been dropping for over 3 years. I think that's ample time to come pull the permit needed to cut down the tree, and so while I think I've probably been in your position before, throwing myself on the mercy, I would be against waiving the fine. Fine is in place for a reason, as is the permit process.
Okay. So noted. Okay.
And I-
Yes,
and I would-
Mr. Hold on, Mr. Higginbotham.
I wanted to make well, I guess I'll put this in the form of a motion if it's an appropriate motion.
Okay.
I want to move that the Finance Committee supports the decision made by Special Issues later tonight on this issue. And if they advise that we should waive the fine, then Finance supports that. And if they advise that we should not waive the fine, then Finance. So the short version is I move that the Finance Committee support the recommendation of Special Issues.
Okay. Okay, that's the motion. Okay. Second.
I'll second that.
Okay, and then you have discussion.
I do know as someone who's gone and gotten a permit to do this, that it's a pretty simple process, that they do it that morning, and before they start, they just go over there and get a permit, so it's not a hard process. I also appreciate someone who's gotten up to here to the point where they are like, we have got to get this done immediately, and, you know, all of a sudden, getting a permit's not on as much as, we got to get that down right now. But it is a simple process of getting that permit, because they've done it, you know, they walk in the morning, I guess, pay the money and go. I mean, there's no, hey, paperwork and all that from what I saw. They just went that morning and picked up a permit and moved and came back. Oh, well, I don't know, somehow they claimed, I paid for a permit, they claimed to have gotten one, so.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Mr. Higginbotham, Mrs. Smith. Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed by the same sign. That's 5-0. It's up to you. I mean, I would say you don't have to stay. I mean, we have the information, but it's completely up to you for Special Issues at 6:45.
Well, that's fine. I mean, if this is all the same folks that are going to be in Special Issues, then you've heard my case.
Yeah.
Was unfortunately unaware of the need for a permit, but,
We'll keep that, and we'll
Understand.
share them with people.
and y'all can share them?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'll take
We'll let you know.
that.
Okay, take your tree, be careful. Okay. 05-10-20, request for final amendments to 1920 budgets. Mr. Burgett has asked that we carry this over, making final closing out of the budget, and we just need, we'll take that in the next committee meeting. So we'll carry that over without objection. Same thing with 06-10-20, request to amend 2021 budget for encumbrances that need to roll forward. He's asked that we carry this over one more time, and then we'll take it up in the next meeting. Okay. Oh, I skipped one, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
Okay. 02-10-20. I just wrote down the wrong line. Request for RFP production for city communication services. Thank you, Councilors Andrus and Smith, for your work in putting this together. I think it's a great. In looking at it, the RFP seems clear. If Mrs. Smith, could you summarize kind of what we're looking to accomplish here?
Essentially, we are addressing all of the communication issues for the city that we need to have done. As we all know, COVID-19 has created issues that we've never had to address before. like Zoom meetings and having our committee meetings in a different room and all of the various things that we've had to adapt to on the fly since the pandemic started. We also know that going forward, we have interest in streaming our meetings like many other of our municipalities nearby do, thereby giving people even more access to the public meetings that we already have. Instead of having to come down here or be on Zoom, they will be able to live stream those. And so we put together a scope of work that encompasses 5 specific areas that we need communications help with, and I'm going to have to look at my phone and hopefully my eyesight will not betray me. Obviously, one of our main components is the work on the website. We have to have somebody who is knowledgeable with design and website creation, but we also have to make sure that that information gets out as quickly as we can. We all know that it's necessary for things to turn around very quickly, so we need to make sure that we have somebody who can do that. We have social media. We've got to have somebody who can integrate our website with our social media handles, Twitter, Facebook. We don't do Instagram. And then another area is our video production and sound engineering. Of course, that is where we get into the discussion of our meetings being on Zoom and going forward, how that looks. Obviously, at the beginning, we were just doing our council meetings on Zoom. Now we're doing committee meetings on Zoom. We did our budget hearings on Zoom. So there's been a lot more, there's been additions that have been made throughout this process. And we expect now that people are used to those, that's going to be something that we're going to be continuing in most cases. So we've got to have somebody who's an expert on video production, and obviously you don't edit these videos because they're public meetings and they have to be presented as they occur, but we have to have somebody who can get them out there onto the website very quickly. Currently, I think it's about a 6-hour turnaround, I would say, after our meetings, sometimes a little bit longer, but that's usually the target time, so we've got to have somebody who's able to do that quickly and efficiently. And then public relations, we just need help with messaging, content creation, because, as we all know, it's very difficult with all of us doing other things to always be thinking about posting and creating content and getting that out to the citizens. So we need to make sure we have somebody who can help us make sure the messages are getting out to the people that need to get it. And then our other category, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that we don't even think about, like our signage for downtown, people who create the artwork and the messages on our signs. We have a big need for integrating our communication amongst our employees. That's something that we're really looking at, because right now it's pretty much email and phone calls, and we would like to look at other platforms that might be more efficient for our employees. So there's other things that fall in under this umbrella that we'd like to include in this scope of work. So that's pretty much the 5 areas that we're looking for help, and we are going to send out RFP and ask for people to make their proposals, and then we are going to interview the candidates and select somebody who can help us with all of those things.
And I would add that also the Park and Rec that Berkeley has discussed, wanting to have an improved website and being able to integrate all the city websites together so you can get from one place to another in one click.
Okay. Ms. Triggerbout.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to add to your comments thanking Councilor Smith and Councilor Anderson. I can tell they put a lot of work into this. I had a couple of specific questions about the RFP just to clarify things.
Sure.
First of all, our city account for our website is a Gmail account as opposed to...
That is correct.
Okay. I'm not quite sure why that is, but, okay, that's what it said. I just wanted to make sure that was...
Hold on.
Here, Brian, voice from beyond is talking to us.
That was originally created because of the YouTube channel. YouTube requires Gmail. That is not the city's email account. That was used to set that up. It's also and was used for a feedback line for quite some time. Okay. Right now, the main thing it's used for is for account creation and a few other logistical things.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Brian.
Helpful on that. And just reading it in a more general way, I'm trying to understand, is it the intent I know specifically Parks and Rec was mentioned. Is it the intent that whoever this is going to do all of the web pages associated with entities of the city, like, for example, the library, which I know they have internal staff to do their web page. So I'm just wondering what the thought was when.
I think that the thought process is obviously this person would be helping Berkeley with creating a new Parks and Rec site. How long ago was y'all's site created? Yeah, so their site just needs to be brought into the future here. But the hope is that even if, like, say, the library continues to do their own page, that there would be a way to integrate it more efficiently into the city site so that it wouldn't feel so separated. Everything right now feels so, there's the police site, there's the fire site, there's the library, there's the city. Trying to make it a more integrated whole so that it's, all the information is available at the click of a button. So we're not taking anything away from the library folks, just trying to make it so that it's more efficiently integrated into the full system.
I think I had one, it's an observation, not a question, and it may just be me. When I'm reading this RFP and I come to the first paragraph under number 3, video production and sound engineering, when I get to 1.5 hours, that doesn't scan as 1.5 hours to me. I had to read that sentence multiple times because it looked like 11/2, which I had no idea what that meant.
Okay.
So just a suggestion that we make
We'll
the
correct
half a
that.
little bitty
Okay.
half,
One
or
half.
put the words 1.5
Yeah, no,
hours.
yeah.
So that's just a,
An editing remark.
an editing remark,
Okay,
yes.
no, appreciate it.
All I had, thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
thank you, Mr. Higginbotham. Mr. Harden.
I know we're talking about this right now as a COVID situation where we're all here. I know at one point we talked about the idea of what would it cost to go ahead and get video streaming back there in our committee room. Are we talking about that right now?
Yes.
Yes.
This is part of that.
So the
That's part of
equipment it's going to take and,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's,
The equipment was already approved from the budget for this year. It's
Okay.
ready to go.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that was already.
And I wanted to point out also that this would include council committee meetings. I've been saying council meetings, and I want to include council committee meetings. I want everyone to understand that includes everything. That includes every meeting.
Yes, okay, good.
Hey, can I, Ms. Smith, on the RFP process, is that something that we're going to announce, like we do a formal, like, you're going to let my office send out sealed bids, or y'all going, how's that going to work with the?
Yes, we're going to do our normal process for request for proposals, and then we just need to set a deadline for when we want those to be submitted by.
Did that RFP come from you? I may have
We
missed it.
Jennifer and I put together the scope of work, and then it was crafted into the actual, correct.
Okay, I'll
yeah.
go check. I may have missed
Okay,
it.
yeah, no, we can send
I'm
it to you.
asking the two of them to coordinate with Mr. Kendrick and Ms. Salter in sending this out.
Yeah.
So like normal, a lot of things,
Yes.
some departments doing themselves that will.
No, we need to do this like we do our normal city council request for proposals
Okay.
and send it out, yeah. And we'll make sure and get that, we'll make that change that Mr. Higginbotham recommended,
Okay.
and then we'll get that to you.
Yeah, Mr. McCluskey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question for Mrs. Anderson, Ms. Smith. Under the public relations piece for the developing and carrying out overall communication strategy while managing messaging and branding for the city, does that include what we had discussed in regards to a possible, like, listening center and all of that, to where we're receiving information?
You mean you're talking about like a citizen's response?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, and actually, that would actually be a little bit more under the website creation, because that would
Oh,
be
would it?
something
Okay, okay.
that would happen on the website. And we've already discussed that that's a pretty easy thing to do, but we just need to make sure when it's created, that the messages are getting received by somebody. Because it doesn't do any good if somebody goes on the website and puts in a comment and then nobody ever responds to them. So we've got to make sure that it's getting routed to the correct places, and there's a way to figure that out, which we will do. But yes, that is part of this as well.
Okay, so it'll be more detailed when the RFP, I guess, goes out in regards to that's
Yes.
the type of thing that,
We can add some clarifying language to that.
Yeah, we can put that in the website
Let's do
section.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
I'm
Thank you, Mr.
making
Chairman.
Yeah,
notes.
that's a great recommendation.
Counselor Jones?
And then, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Walton.
You're fine. I was just going to ask, one of the things, because this is going to be an expensive endeavor, I think in any endeavor that you undertake like this that costs a lot of money, we need some sort of reporting on it. I would like that to be included so that we get traffic numbers for the website, we get the views that are being logged off of the YouTube channel, how many people are actually logging into the meetings, because if this gets to the point where we are spending significant amount of money on this, it may be time to pare it back if it doesn't succeed or is not.
Yeah, and there is, there's language in one of the sections about analytics.
Okay, I
and-
look for reporting, I didn't
Yes,
see it.
yes.
Analytics,
It's
that's
not,
good.
it doesn't necessarily say reporting, we can make that more specific, but yes, there is, analyzing all of the data and the views and the
And I don't think
engagements and all of that.
It doesn't
yeah.
have to be like weekly or monthly.
No,
I mean,
right,
if it's like
but
quarterly
occasionally.
or even twice a year, I think
Right,
just some
yeah.
sort of metric to benchmark against, so when we go to fund the following year,
Yeah.
we can say this has been wildly successful. We can add funds to it. So,
Right, yeah, no, that's absolutely, but we'll make that more clear
Awesome.
about
Thank
the
you.
data analysis.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve the RFP?
With the suggested changes?
With the suggested changes, yes. Yes. Sure, yeah. Yeah, you
Yep,
do.
and sign in.
All right. So I wanted to ask the council a couple of questions about this. I did not see,
Mr. Forsythe, can you just
These-
give me your address for the record?
I'm sorry, 507 Point Sienna.
Okay.
I did not see anywhere this guidelines that you all assembled. Did you put them out to the public when you put this together?
No, because that's what we're doing tonight. We're approving the RFP to be produced so that we can send it out for proposals.
I haven't seen the guidelines that you were talking about anywhere, and that was my first question.
Okay, well, they exist, and they're right here, and we're going to make some changes to them, and then they will be
But you all-
released for proposal.
Right, but you all originated them.
The scope of work?
Yeah, both of you originated it.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So one of the things that concerns me about this was the lack of citizen involvement in generating what I consider to be probably the main focus of this election, which had to do with communications.
Which is the purpose of this RFP, to improve.
I get
the-
it, but where's the citizen involvement in generating the things that you're wanting to get done and the citizens want to get done?
Well, we hear from people all the time about things that they want to get done, which is what we tried to incorporate into the RFP so that we could increase and put in a citizens response portal so that people would be able to go onto the website and easily put comments in or ask questions or ask if they had things that they needed to get taken care
Right.
of, how to do that. So that's exactly what we're trying to
I
do
get it.
here. is-
I deal with RFP all
Okay, so
the
then
time
you
in my
know that
work.
what we're trying to
Well,
do here is do
right,
exactly
I-
what you're saying.
I completely understand.
Uh-huh.
My concern is that, and I'm just looking here, here's a wonderful piece that was written by a company who specializes in doing these things.
Okay.
And one of the things they say is that a big part of the execution is the inclusion of the right project stakeholders in the RFP development. I don't believe the right stakeholders have been involved. I don't know anybody that was contacted or asked or discussed anything about this outline you put together. And I believe...
It's not an outline, it's a scope of work for an RFP.
That's fine, scope of work, whatever it is,
Mhm.
you have to generate it, but it looks like you all have generated it, and you've had some input from some folks,
We
but
hear
you
from
haven't
people.
solicited the input.
How would
of
you
the citizens.
suggest that that input would happen?
What is it you want from it?
Yes.
Well,
what-
my recommendation would have been something we tried about, I want to say 10 years ago, when we formed a communications committee with the mayor.
Okay.
And that committee's job ended up being trying, and it had some great people on it. They were citizen volunteers, people who were experts in different areas. Andy talked about the social media side and the analytics, but these were folks that had experience with this. And they helped develop those guidelines and bring a whole inclusive approach. Unfortunately, when we had our second meeting, the mayor didn't attend, and the whole thing fell apart. That's a side note. I believe you need to have a citizen committee to generate and make sure before you go and develop an RFP, outline, process, whatever you want to call it, to put out to companies, that you need a lot more input from the people in this city. And you don't have that right now.
Well, I would disagree with you, and I would tell you that, first of all, I've been a communications professional for 35 years. I have a master's degree in journalism and an undergraduate degree in journalism, and I've worked in this field for many, many years. So to imply that I don't have any experience here is incorrect and
No, I didn't imply
misleading.
you didn't have any experience. I'm
Well-
saying you didn't involve enough citizen input.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, Mr. Forsythe, you can make your comments.
Yes.
But we're not going to have a bantering back and forth. Just, if you will provide what your comments are.
I have.
Okay, then we will take them under advisement.
Right.
And we'll make a decision. But
Okay.
but this bantering back and forth is not effective in the
Well,
committee.
it
So I
isn't-
appreciate
You're
your.
right, it isn't effective, but when I'm asked a question, I'm going to answer it.
Okay, okay.
And just like
Well,
if I ask a
let's
question,
not
I
have
want
any
you
more.
all to
Let's
answer.
just provide what
Okay?
you're here to share.
Okay.
And we'll take
I'd
it
like to
under
see you
advisement.
put together a communications committee.
Okay.
Comprised of a lot of citizens to help you develop this RFP, because there's a lot of things you didn't mention that I heard discussed in the election on both camps that are not in this RFP. And I think they should be. And I think that enough people are aware of what all needs to be in there who have a particular interest in this, that you need to have a more all-encompassing approach. That's a good way to do it.
Thank you for your
Okay, thank you.
comments.
Okay?
Okay,
So I just don't want to put the cart in front of the horse.
okay,
I think you should slow down a little bit.
great.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Mr.
Thank
Forsythe.
you.
All right, from the, yes, Mr. Wolverton.
I'm not on the committee, but I just wanted to clarify that from what I heard earlier, I would assume that this is open to modification and altering along the way, and that's part of why we're talking about analytics and looking at how the feedback is and what feedback we're getting, correct? So I have not, I'm obviously not on the committee, but I do believe that obviously as we continue to receive feedback, that will be taken into account while we continue to modify and streamline and improve.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll mention one thing, and Mr. Wyatt can attest to this. You know, we created an insurance RFP, and we felt like the structure was good. We covered everything, but when the proposals came in, there was a lot of creativity. There were things that we might not have thought about, and we can't cover everything. But I'm looking for creativity when these come in. That we're going to have some things that might be additional communication tools that we might not even know about, additional analytical tools to give us that visibility. So this is just the outline that we're looking for, but we can certainly, I think the fun part is when we get the proposal back and kind of look at that.
Because
Well, I would agree with Mr. Jones that, and insurance was a great example of that, where we actually ended up sort of doing something different than what we thought we were going to do, because the people with the knowledge and experience about the particular things that they could offer us came in and told us some things that quite frankly we didn't know. Maybe I look at things a little bit differently, but I see an RFP as a starting point. And that we work from that point and interview the people who submit the proposals. And sometimes we're impressed with them, sometimes we're not. Sometimes they bring up stuff that we haven't thought of, sometimes they don't. But it's a good conversation that we have with anyone who submits a proposal, and that's why we do the interviews, because it's a process, and this is the beginning of the process. It's the way I look at it.
Right.
I just have a question for Ms. Smith. You're not going to take my Everbridge away from me, are you? Because I like doing that.
No, we want the Everbridge. We want it to continue. We want it to be more robust, actually.
Yeah,
We wanna be
actually,
able to-
I was just kidding, but I do like it. But
Yeah.
I'm very careful about what I put out there, too,
Yeah,
because you
well,
can't
and
take it back.
that's part of this too, because that falls into a comprehensive communications plan, because any tool that we use to communicate with the citizens, we want to be able to incorporate that into here, because we want the messaging to be consistent across all the platforms.
And I got to find out.
including-
I got to call Jim St. John, but I think it tells you how many Homewood residents are plugged into it. But I know when we did a call out for poll workers, man, we got inundated. And then when I
Yeah.
said I didn't say park board, but I said board listings, and boy, we got inundated with those, as you can tell too. But so people are using that one. But there is another piece to that which I wrote down that we haven't done, which is to get with whoever does this where it can talk to the social media instead of having to copy the posting to that.
Yeah, and there's also.
We don't know how to do that yet.
And there's also the capability, because I've talked to Jim Coker about it, of having a feedback component with the Everbridge as well. Jefferson County does it by using an email address, and he said he'd be willing to share that expertise with us, so that even through the Everbridge, we can get feedback from people. And that can be also integrated into the rest of this process, so that everything is always accessible, no matter where it's coming from.
I was just teaching, but I like
Yeah.
doing it. So
No,
if I
we're
still
not
do it,
taking
I
away
still
your
volunteer.
Everbridge.
All right, Mr. Wolverton.
That was actually going to be one of my other questions, was just how it was going to tie in kind of with E911 and some of the other things that we've,
Which has
recently
been
kind of rolled out.
Very effective, yeah.
Yeah, as Melody pointed out, we've gotten poll workers and other important things generated from that already.
No, it'll all be wrapped up together.
Mr. Wright.
Just to state the opposite, it's going to be a public input process as well, and we'll certainly welcome all the public involvement, public ideas, and encourage the public to stay involved and help us make, good decisions on the proposals once they come in, and so we can all make a good, with public's help, a good decision on this important communication device going forward. So thank you.
One more quick question for Mr. Wright. Can we expect that you'll be there and helping provide real-time input?
He said he'll be of any assistance he can be, right, Mr. Wright?
I'll be joining in from Zoom, Never Land, but I have complete confidence in you all, and if I have some input, I will let each of you know. Okay?
All right. Did you have a comment you want to make? All right, you got to come sign in and.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm George Williams. George Williams. By the way, the mic doesn't do very much good out there. I don't know whether anybody can adjust the volume or not, but that seems to be par for the course, unfortunately. I think you may be stuck with that. So, an interesting thing happened. I guess I have to stand here. While I was thinking about what kind of questions I thought would make sense, and the first gentleman asked his, I started to ask a question, and then she cued me for my question. There's some reason that she had to ask you whether or not her needs were going to get taken care of.
I was just teasing her. I'm sorry. It was just a joke. I was teasing her about the Everbridge. It was.
Have you all talked about it before?
Everbridge? Yes,
Yes.
we've had an entire presentation about.
Yeah, it's in place.
Have you talked to her about what she would like to have for her position with this communication system?
We are going to incorporate all of our employees, and one of the main focuses of this is to improve communication amongst our employees. And we're trying to do that to make their lives easier.
And I'm sorry if I misled you. I was really just teasing. I shouldn't have
No,
said
I don't think you
that loud.
misled me, but the comment that you made was a
just
comment about the requirements for the system. That's what goes into an RFP, is what the requirements are.
Well, Everbridge it's a new component, so it's not, it's something that we just rolled out recently before the election, so it's relatively new. And we've already discussed the part about how it'll integrate into social media. So when I was looking at her, it was tongue in cheek saying, I still want to do my Everbridge if y'all still need me to. It was just, it wasn't a joke, it was just I shouldn't have said it.
I got that feeling from the way you asked the question. But my question is, I think, a legitimate, important question. How many of the city employees have you interviewed to get your list of needs that go into your RFP?
Again, Mr. Williams, we are viewing this as our starting point because we've got to get our handle around this, and we've got to get it, but we're going to include all of our employees. And if you read the RFP, one of the components is coming up with new platforms for improving communication and creating an intranet amongst our employees. Because they have, in the past, said it's very difficult for us to have communication amongst each other when we're constantly just doing email and phone calls.
I understand that.
So that is part of this RFP. It is in there if you read it.
But I would suggest those thoughts ought to be in your RFP. They should be part of your requirements for the bidders.
Which components?
That's what an RFP is for.
I agree, but I'm not sure what you're saying, because what I just said is in there is creating integrated and improved communications amongst our employees. So I'm not sure which.
But you're not being very specific about that. What are their needs?
That's the point of an RFP, to be general, so we get back creativity suggestions from professionals. At that point, we can judge what we like and dislike and either accept a proposal or adjust our RFP by what came back and request new proposals.
Because for instance, some of the things that we've talked about are using a platform called Slack. Lots of businesses use that to improve communications amongst employees because it's instantaneous and it's quick. Not everybody in our employees, they may not like that idea. They may want something different. So we are going to listen to the professionals who come before us, who make these proposals, and filter out what we think after talking to our employees, which platform is going to fit the best for what we need. But our overall goal, like it says in the RFP, is to improve the communications amongst our employees, either through new platforms that we haven't investigated or through the creation of an intranet or in some other capacity. But we are not going to limit it so much that these people have no ability to be creative in their proposals to us. Because part of this is letting people tell us what they feel might be the best thing for us to do, and then us discussing it with our employees and coming up with a decision about what's going to work for us.
I'm not suggesting that you limit it.
No, that's exactly what you're suggesting.
Excuse me.
Okay?
I never suggested limiting. You were the one who came up with limiting. What I'm suggesting is that you need to talk to the heads of your departments.
Okay.
Okay. And find out what their needs are. I've responded to RFPs for Fortune 100 companies for the last 30 years.
Okay.
When I respond to an RFP, I determine how I'm going to provide what the client has asked for.
So if somebody has said that they want to improve their in communications amongst their employees, would that not be a suggestion as to what we were looking for?
In what way do you want to improve it? What are the specifics of what are the problems that your employees are having with communication? Are they needing more opportunities to communicate among themselves? Are they looking for ways to communicate with the public? Are they looking, for example, for a way for somebody in the public to be able to get on your website and lodge a complaint about a pothole in the street or something that needs to be done? Have you gotten that specific? Because those are the kind of things that they need to know about before they respond to your RFPs.
Which was what Patrick asked a second ago about about the citizen response portal, which we are including in this, and we did not make it as specific in the language, but I said that we were going back to correct that. That is one of the elements that we have discussed all along, and we are going to include that, but it was not as specific as it could have been, so we are going to change that.
I'll make one final statement. I would suggest that you cannot go back and correct those things until you've talked to the people who are actually going to live with this system once it's installed. And you won't get quality responses to your RFP. You don't have to have all the answers. And I agree, you expect to get lots of guidance from the people who respond to your RFP. But if you're not specific enough for them to understand all the scope, you set a scope of work. A scope of work says, here are all the things that we need. It doesn't say, here are some topics. Tell us what we need, but that's kind of what I'm hearing. So,
well, have you looked at this? Have you, because it's pretty specific. It talks about specific softwares and it's specific technologies and specific things. It's pretty specific. Now, there are some things that could be more specific, and I'm taking notes so that we can do that. But it's pretty specific. It's not just topics. It's not just like, hey, we need somebody to do a website. Hey, we need somebody to do social media. It's about what those platforms are, what we have in place, and what we'd like to see in the future.
Then where can I find it?
I tell you what, we can make sure that it goes out onto the website, because Brian can do that.
Where would I have seen it before? I mean, you asked me if I'd read it. Where was it?
It'll be in the committee minutes of this meeting. I mean, this is
It will
Finance
be-
Committee.
Yeah, this is the first time that
Finance
it's-
Committee.
So I'm
This is the first
confused.
time it's been discussed.
I'm confused and a bit offended. You asked me if I'd read it, and now you're telling me it hasn't been. anywhere
You're
for me to
correct.
read.
That was my mistake. It has not been out there, but I
That's
mean,
all I need.
I'm happy to,
Thank
happy
you.
to send it.
Thank you, thank you.
I
Okay.
wish the tone in this city would just turn down. I am
Yeah.
tired of the hostility and the
Us-
aggression, the amount of emails that we have received in the last 7 days with.
All right, and that, we're not going to have any more comments. That's enough.
Well put, Counselor Andrus.
So we're going to keep it to the council. Mr. Gual.
No, the only comment I was going to make was, I think there's some confusion about how modern organizations work in the communications and feedback loop.
Yep.
Employees give feedback to their supervisor, supervisor gives feedback to their director, director provides feedback to council via the mayor or in however they provide that feedback. So unfortunately, I think that was missed in that last part of that conversation, but that's how I understand it to work. You would spend a year polling every single employee in the city.
Correct.
So that's my only comment.
Okay.
We just got to remember how modern organizations work.
Okay, and again, as Mr. Wright eloquently put it, we welcome all of you to, the three of you to be a part of the conversation as we get proposals in, and we'll go from there. Is there a motion to, I believe we have this. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, correct. Yes, correct.
My name's Melinda Williams,
Okay.
234 Raymond Drive. And the last time I checked, government was supposed to be for the people, and you are representatives of the people. And I've listened to an awful lot of demeaning kinds of comments, reactions to, please don't, reactions to people talking and being talked over because you were trying to be defensive about whatever your proposal is, and I just don't think that's right.
Okay.
I don't think that's right for the city. I don't think that's right for the people who live here and the people who elected you, being chastised about emails that are being received. That's just not appropriate.
Thank you.
Noted.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Appreciate it. Okay. Ms. Salter, did we have a motion in a second? I can't remember.
I'm trying to look and see if still bids will be sent out.
You didn't. If not, is there a motion?
No, I don't see a motion.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Thames, I heard you loud and clear. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Harden. Okay.
This is just to recommend the RFP, the changes y'all suggested, send out the
Yeah,
RFP.
with the recommended amendments that
council?
we discussed tonight.
Yeah, when we want the deadline to be.
Yeah. Let's look. Let me look at the calendar.
Did you get covered on the email about November? Because there's going to be a lot of changes in November. Because of the organizational meeting and Thanksgiving.
Oh, right, we're not going to have.
Right. And the 9th we'll have committee and council meetings.
How about the November 16th? Is
That'll
that-
be a committee. And then the council will be the 30th because of it having 5 Mondays.
Yeah, let's, I think that's fine.
Thanksgiving.
because
16th.
Thanksgiving's going to come in between their holiday times, so I think putting it on the.
So the 9th and the
30th.
16th will be the committee, the 9th and the 16th will be the committee meetings, and the council meeting will be the 9th and the 30th.
Okay, so you want to make the deadline for proposals the 30th of November? Does that work?
That gives us more than a full month.
That's not the bid opening date, that's just when you want the deadline.
Yeah, right.
4 p.m.?
But then we'll be scheduling interviews after that.
When are you going to open?
Yeah, we have to do the bid opening
Yeah,
date.
yeah.
That night at 5?
Yeah. we'll open them that night at 5.
Okay, so the deadline is
4:30.
4:30 and with opening
On the
at
30th,
5.
open at 5.
On 11:30.
11:30, that's right.
Okay, got it.
And Mike, I'll get those changes that we discussed.
Sure.
Okay, so Mr. Thames and Mr. Harden, any other discussions? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign? 5-0, that passes. Thank you for all the comments. And I was going to take some stuff off the table. We're going to do that next time. So we're adjourned.